Hey guys, last week I talked to you about my training schedule for running a 10K this summer and hopefully beating my personal record that I'm really looking forward to. This week I wanted to start talking to you about the Women of Joy conference that I went to last week. It was incredible. I got to hear Lisa Turkhurst, Angela Thomas, Jan Silvius, and Angie Smith all speak, and it was definitely what I needed. And this week I want to kind of share with you the process of actually finding out about the conference and everything. 2 weeks ago, I shared with you a book by Jan Silvius called Big Girls Don't Whine, and I came across that through a conversation of somebody that I went and looked up the book, found it, looked up the author, was trying to see if this was somebody that I should buy their book and take their advice from, and on Jan's website, I saw a link for the Women of Joy conference. I had never heard of the conference before and went to the conference website, saw that Lisa Turkhurst was going to be there and Angela Thomas, and really liked those speakers and figured, wow, like it's a week away. God, are you lining this up and putting this in my life right now? Because it's like I have a chance to go and should go. And I went back and forth and didn't buy my ticket until I got there because I didn't decide to go until about half an hour before I had to leave out the door to drive for an hour and a half to go down to the conference. And I drove an hour and a half down there on Friday night, hour and a half back Friday night late, and then drove down an hour and a half early Saturday morning and back that afternoon, and then back again Sunday morning. And it was totally worth it. I thought it was really cool with the way that I found out about the conference. It's not my usual to go to a women's conference alone, but that's how much I was feeling like God really wanted me to go there, and He needed to speak to me in my life at this moment that I was really going to need what the speakers were going to be talking about. And the even cooler thing, when I got there, I was finding the registration and asked a lady if I was in the right spot, and she said I was, and she had a friend that was signing up to go to the conference alone as well. And God totally put this other lady in my life. And I want to share a little bit about her story going to the conference too. She was at the conference center for another conference that was starting the next day and didn't even know about the Women of Joy conference as well. And on her flight in, she was praying for God to give her more joy. So as she was registering for her other conference that she was in town for, she saw the sign that said Women of Joy and was like, well, God, you can't really spell it out more clearer than that right there. I've been praying for joy. Here's a sign for Women of Joy. And so she went and signed up, not even knowing if the schedule was going to be able to allow her to go to very much of it, but just knew that God had laid it on her heart to be there and go there as well. And the coolest thing, the schedules totally lined up. So she was able to go to everything of Women of Joy and never conflicted with any of her other conference. And I just thought that was amazing and very cool that God put me there and her there and had us meet before we even walked into the doors for the conference. And it was so nice to be able to go there and have somebody save you a seat the next day. And then Sunday I got to save her a seat, and it was just fun to be able to have somebody expecting you to be there and having somebody to sit with, so you're not completely alone, although we went to the conference alone. And I don't know, I just thought that was really cool and just made me think of how many times in my life and in your life does God line things up so perfectly. It was nothing in my strength that made the situation the way that it was, and it was perfect and it was great, and I learned a lot, and I got to talk to some of the speakers and thank them for their messages. And next week I'm going to talk to you a little bit more of detail of what I learned from the speakers, but I really just wanted to share with you of how faithful God was in having me go, having me hear about the conference, and meeting and giving me somebody to sit with. I would love to hear your stories of when in your life have you seen God completely line something up and that you knew, like, this is what God wanted me to do. I was faithful in doing it, and then this is how it turned out. And I just love those stories, and I think we don't really get the opportunity to share them too much, or we don't take the opportunity to share them as much. And yeah, I should share more of those of my life. Probably the biggest one being mine and Tim's wedding. So I'll make a note of that and be able to share our wedding details and stuff. That'd be pretty fun to document and have on video. So subscribe so next week you can hear what I learned from the different speakers at Women of Joy. And I also want to start doing some mommy topics because I have been learning a lot from coming through postpartum depression and being out of it for 3 months now, and going to this conference and starting to learn different areas of my life that I need to keep in check, how to keep them in check, and the blessings that are coming with that. So subscribe so you can get some mommy tips, some more God tips of what's going on in my life, and I want to hear what's going on in your life. And yeah, I'm just excited about it. All right, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.